All right, so we're back with the Western Conference. Dallas Mavericks. Over-under is 49.5. 50 wins last season as a fifth seed, which is something we're probably going to see again this year from a fifth seed.
Yep.
I'll let you start with the Mavs.
Yeah, so I think that this year, essentially we're asking them to win the same as last year, and they're obviously better. At least in my opinion, they're better offensively.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to win 50, 51 games. So I'm taking the over.
Mm.
They added Klay Thompson to be your stand in the corner shooter.
Yeah.
Then you have a really good shooter in Quentin Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Spencer Dinwiddie, which I'm sure you saw last year. I don't know.
He comes back. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to miss Derrick Jones Jr., his defense,
Maybe.
his versatility.
Yeah.
But
Klay, for him, in that option standing in the corner, is a game changer offensively.
Oh, offensively, yeah. Yeah. When
I know what you're saying about the
defense.
defense.
You can't leave him. It just opens up the court so much.
You can't leave him. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I'm taking the over for them.
Yeah. Anything else? Maybe Luka, Kyrie talk.
Luka's Luka.
Yeah.
I think that, one more year with Luka and Kyrie. I hope that they don't get that, that hangover from being in the finals. Maybe they come back a little hungrier.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought.
And maybe Luka comes back in better shape. I don't know what it is. I see him sometimes at the beginning of the season, like, oh, he looks like he's in shape. And then towards the end of it, it's like he's been...
Yeah. Okay, so you're taking the over on the Mavs. I agree with you. I'm taking the over as well. Not going to let them prove me wrong again. I had reasons to believe that. I think we both had reasons to believe that they wouldn't hit the over. So, real quick, the Kyrie-Luka dynamic, right? We both questioned it for obvious reasons. They're both heavy isolation players. The Mavs were second in isolation frequency. Luka was first in isolation points. Kyrie was sixth in isolation points. This is a lot of isolation.
Yep.
So the Mavs were also a team you didn't want to play against in clutch time because of the Kyrie and Luka factor.
Exactly.
Absolute nightmare. You game plan for two of the best shot creators in the league at the same time. It is a nightmare when you're playing them in crunch time. So very interesting combination of two guys. We talked about Klay Thompson. The game plan all along for the Mavs is high pick and roll with the 1-5. The 1-5 is going to dive. If the teams were tagging away from PJ, tagging away from Derrick Jones Jr., now it's going to be we're tagging off of PJ, but they're going to try to run screens on the side where they can get Klay in the action. So if you tag away from Klay, good luck on that. If you don't tag away from Klay, you better have really good rim protection and mobility because those dunks are going to be there now.
Yep.
Easier than before.
Now, the question is Klay going to be a little bit better than he's been the last couple of years?
Offensively?
Well,
he's going to be less usage. I think we can predict that part because of the fact that you have high usage with Kyrie, you have high usage with Luka. There's going to be a lot of pick and roll action with the 1-5 like we saw last year. So Klay is probably going to get he's probably going to have more fresh legs this year, in my opinion. Also because of the fact that I don't think the Mavs are a very high-paced team. I could be wrong about that because of the isolation. There is a lot of half-court stuff with them. Mm-hmm. So I think that could benefit Klay, to be honest. So
you're not asking him to defend, the best. Well,
he may have to be asked to play some more defense.
You're not putting Kyrie and you're not putting Luka on that.
Even though they were better last year defensively, right? Kyrie and Luka, they showed some good stuff.
I guess
you got Najee Marshall, definitely a guy that's going to be playing tough. He's going to help defensively. You talked about Quentin Grimes. I was surprised that after this offseason that Jaden Hardy is still here because I thought he would be a trade piece for them.
Yep.
So I'm happy he's still on this team because I like him. Another G League Ignite guy, So, yeah, I mean, we're both taking the over. People have questions about defense, but I think when you have rim protection as a foundation and you do have some wing guys like a PJ Washington, like I said, a Najee Marshall, they lost Josh Green. That's going to hurt them defensively. We'll see. I'm a firm believer in maybe the offense is so damn good that their defense can take a slight step back and they'll still be a great regular season team. So Denver Nuggets over under 51.5 for this team. They got 57 wins. I think we both took the under because we were worried about how they were going to come after the championship. I don't remember if you took the over or not. I definitely took the under. I remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think this year that number seems a little low for me.
It looks low. And
there's reason for it. They lost KCP.
Yeah.
They lost Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
You're
obviously no more Bruce Brown since the year before.
Yeah, and you're replacing Reggie Jackson with Russell Westbrook.
Right. Which is an upgrade off the bench, in my opinion.
Yes, but just not so much of a shooter.
No.
But, we'll see how that plays. Maybe you won't ask him to be a shooter.
So, big problem with the Nuggets. You need athleticism. They have it with Aaron Gordon. They have it with Michael Porter Jr. to an extent, right?
And Brown?
Christian Brown?
Christian Brown.
Athleticism?
Sneaky.
I mean, he's like a dirty work type of guy. He is scrappy. So I guess I wouldn't consider him an athletic person, like a heavy athlete.
I seen him throw some dunks.
Okay, then we'll put him in the athlete category. That's
sneaky.
Fine. Sneaky. Okay, that's fair. Obviously Peyton Watson is another guy there that has the athleticism, but I think like the second unit for this team was such a problem. They were at the bottom of almost every category as a second unit. So when you bring Russell Westbrook, he's going to add energy. He's going to inject some life into this team, some adrenaline that the second unit desperately needs. He's also rim pressure as a guard, right? Rare skill set from a guard. He can rebound. He can play make. We know the negatives about Russ. Can't shoot, very reckless. But I think this team needs an adrenaline shot because it's a team that can't, they have no life without Jokic out there. So Jokic comes off, Russ comes in, and it's 100 miles an hour. The pace gets picked up. There's a toughness factor added to this team. I think he's really going to help. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic because I love the Nuggets. I'm torn. I don't know if I want to take the over or the under. They also lost their rookie, Deron Holmes. He was going to be a backup center for Jokic.
And he's out, right, for the year?
Yes, he's out for the year. I think he tore his Achilles or something. I don't have that in my notes, but we also know about the Jamal Murray extension, right? That was kind of something that I've been worried about Jamal for even after the championship year. I was like watching him closely, like his health.
Doesn't look right.
We'll see.
And then we saw him in the Olympics.
And he didn't look good in Canada.
Yeah, he looked really, really bad.
Yeah, for Canada. So I don't know, man. Like this is gonna be the year of like the young guys' impact to help this team, like take them over the top two, like Julian Strawther. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a guy that didn't really get a lot of opportunity. I think he was also hurt last year. Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji, like these are guys that I think are going to have to step up. But Mike Malone has to also trust them. Like Mike Malone plays his vets.
Yep.
Really escapes using that youth. So I don't know. There's also a rift. You heard the rumors about like some tension between him.
Yeah, between.
So it's like that typical fall off of that championship team where you start to hear the rumors. Important pieces start leaving the team. Yep. There's a rift with this is like it's looking like it's going downhill. I'm gonna take the over on the Nuggets though. I think I'm still gonna take the over, and it's gonna be a slight over.
Yeah, this one is one of the trickier ones because, like you said, I could see it going both ways.
Yeah,
there's big questions with Jamal Murray. As bad as he looked during the Olympics, it's almost like you're counting on him to have a bounce back year.
Yeah.
Especially the way that he looked in the playoffs. I'm taking the over on them as well.
Okay.
I think that Brown does take a leap to replace KCP.
Brown, yeah, okay.
Again, when I say an over, it's not by a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think the West is really tough.
Yeah.
I think they win maybe 52 to 55.
They still have one of the better starting lineups in the league. And I think that matters. So they obviously, in my opinion, still have the best player in the NBA, which is Jokic. Yeah. So that goes a long way. We can move on now. Golden State Warriors 43.5. We were both under on them. We were down on them last season.
Yep.
You go ahead with this one, and then I'll go after.
Tell you what, it didn't get much better. I obviously I don't watch a lot of Warriors basketball, so I've been trying to do some reading on them.
Yeah.
I can't get convinced. I'm taking the under on them. I think the West is just that much better this year. You lose Clay, you lose Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And you're just relying on a lot of young players.
Yeah.
And then you're hoping also for Stephen Curry to just bail you out again at 37 years old.
Okay.
So at this point, I think that enough is enough. And I think this is where we see the end of...
This is where we see the downward.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm glad we disagree on this one. I did not believe in them last year. I was very down on them, was not optimistic at all. This year, I'm actually feeling better about the team than I was last year. And I'm going to tell you why. So, first of all, 43 is very low, right? Like, considering they still have one of the best players in the league in Steph Curry. Now, I get it. The depth is maybe something people are questioning, but let's look at the bright side of this, right? We know Draymond is regressing, but he still is Draymond. Still going to make the right passes, still going to have energy on this team. He's still going to defend at a good level and make good decisions. Obviously not the ones that give him techs. But here are some things for the Golden State formula. It's always been about floor spacing and motion. They add Buddy Hield, someone he's been hurt, right? So, but he still maintained good shooting splits. So, at least from 3. So he is going to add a little more younger legs than Clay. So that's going to be an interesting spacey backcourt between Hield and Curry. I think also Curry will help push Hield to be the best version of himself as a shooter. I think that's an underrated intangible part of this whole thing. Kuminga is on this prove it situation, right? He has been the reason that they haven't made big moves. He's kind of been the guy that they're like, no, we're not moving Kuminga. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's a restricted free agent this year. So this is definitely going to be the year of Kuminga.
Yeah. Prove it year.
And I think if he does have a big season, I think it does help them get to what's the win mark? 43? So
you're asking them to win 44, essentially.
I'm asking them to. They're still winning less games than they did last year. They were at 46 last year.
46?
And I was really down on them last year. So
they had a stretch last year, though. They won maybe 8 or 9 in a row.
Yeah, and look, I believe in Kuminga now not having that Klay Thompson thing in the back of his. I think that was really bad for them at that point in time. It was the whole Klay thing. He's on the bench now, he's starting. There's just that cloud over them. And I think Kuminga will now have a serious green light on this team that I think is really going to help them. They added Kyle Anderson, who's going to be a significant loss for the T-Wolves, and I think he's going to help the Warriors. Another vet that can actually play. Maybe we see a jump from Moses Moody. He's going into year 4, right? We're still holding on to that, I think, a little bit. D'Anthony Melton is someone that's going to help with their defense. I think he was a sleeper pickup for them. Hopefully, I think he injured his back or something, and we'll see what happens with that. But he's now coming back from it, so we'll see what he gets. Podziemski is someone that they are very high on. He looked good in Summer League, and I think he's gonna just be solid like he was last year. And then Andrew Wiggins, rest in peace to his pops, passed away a couple of days ago. But he is a guy that I'm wondering about. Is he the next possible move? Or are they going to now hope that, do they still believe in Wiggins? He's still on this team.
Let me ask you, do you think he has any value in the league?
I think that he has the potential to show that he has the value in the league. I think as of right now, it's low. I don't know what he's making right now.
26 a year.
26 a year. And so it says here he's under contract for this season and next. He'll have the player option, right? After that next year.
Okay, so he's still essentially
he's
3
a
years.
Pretty interesting trade piece if he ups the value, because the team knows that they'll have him at least for an extra year. So I'm interested in that one. And lastly, the Klay Thompson thing over Steph Curry's head, right? I think that's an added chip on Steph Curry's shoulder, a dude that's already super competitive. And I think that that's going to add a little bit to him.
You think it'll fuel him to play better?
I think it's going to fuel him more. Maybe not to play better, but it's going to be added fuel. He went to a very dangerous opponent, right? Obviously the better team at this point.
Yeah.
I think that's going to add something to Steph Curry's head. And again, I think 43.5 is a reasonable over bet for a team that has Steph Curry on it and these other guys that are winning players. So I am taking the over on the Warriors. So you're on the under.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm sticking on the under, yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's go to the Houston Rockets. This is an interesting one too. 43.5 for the over under. You can go ahead and start with this one.
Yeah, so the way that I kind of looked at this is it's very hard to kind of identify how much are they going to win. So I just say put a number on the team's wins, and that's how I'm going to go. So I put 44. So I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
I think that this team has crazy young talent.
Yeah.
Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith, Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the Thompson twins.
Mm-hmm.
And Reed Shepherd, I saw some of his summer league.
Oh,
play,
he was good.
Man, he was good.
Yeah.
And he's exactly what they needed.
It's exactly what they needed.
Sengun coming back from injury, I think that's really important. He was having arguably all-star.
Okay.
He was about to, if he would have kept his play, I think he would have probably made the All-Star because they were competitive.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were competitive midway through the year.
Okay.
I think that essentially you're asking them to win a little bit more, and I think they do. Great coach in Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
I think that he pushes the teams to win.
We took the over last year together. For obvious reasons, we just thought they added a lot of win now guys, and obviously Ime Udoka. We were optimistic about the pieces and the direction of the team. I did not expect such a defensive turnaround like they had last year. I think I have it here. Yeah, 29th in defensive rating the prior year, 10th last season. Major turnaround defensively. So obviously the additions help contribute to that. Ime Udoka helped contribute to that. Like you said, this is a team that has a lot of talent. They added Steven Adams, who didn't play last year. So he's going to be an interesting front court depth piece, right, for Alperen Şengün. They did run a lot of Jabari Smith Jr. at center as well, which made them pretty interesting. Made them more mobile, more spacey. That's going to be interesting to see.
So you move him to the 4. That makes him huge.
Who?
Jabari Smith.
Well, he is at the 4 for them. He's
going to be the 4. Okay,
that's standard. Yeah. But I'm saying when Şengün went down, they started to push him to the 5, and it made him look spacey, mobile. Because Şengün's not a super quick guy. Obviously, we know about Cam Whitmore. Amin Thompson had an awesome rookie season. He showed a lot. Looks very promising. Jalen Green went out last year going crazy. So, yes, I'm still going to take the under.
Oh,
okay. They won 41 games last year, sneaking up on everybody, by the way, which I think should be considered when we're doing this over-under.
That's true.
I also think that there is a factor in these young teams that have a lot of talent. A lot of them are trying to prove things. And I also think that when you're coming off of a season where everyone's like, wow, look at the Rockets, they're probably going to expect a consistent, they'll probably expect similar success going into the season now. And maybe that kind of, not going to say they're going to take their foot off the gas because Ime Udoka doesn't allow it. But I think in a more difficult conference this year that we can agree on, obviously we see some improvements in the East as well. Wins are going to be harder to come by, like we always expect every year. And I think that this young Rockets team with a lot of talent is kind of in this position where I feel like they're going to be in the same place win-wise, which is under the 43 mark. Even 43 wins. Obviously, you win with the under.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And obviously, we got the Kings with DeMar DeRozan. I can just name a lot of teams that I would take over these guys.
Oh, really? You'll take the Kings over them?
I think I can definitely take the Kings over the Rockets. Even though I would argue the Rockets have more overall, talent. But it is young talent. So, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going under. Anything else for the Rockets? Or are we good?
I think we're good.
Cool. So Clippers, 40.5. They won 51 games. You took the over last year, and you got that one right. So you go ahead with the Clippers.
I got lucky that they actually traded for
Harden. Right? Yeah.
This time around, though,
get to the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This time around, though, it's a little bit hard because I believe in Lue, Coach Lue.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue.
Lue. But I'm still taking the under just because losing Paul George, Russell Westbrook.
Under 40 wins?
Man,
it's pretty low.
Kawhi Leonard, do you trust him to play again?
You trusted him last year?
Yeah, I trusted him with a bunch of help. Essentially, you had 4 Hall of Famers playing.
Yeah. They got a lot of help on this team now, though.
They do.
Still. If you want, I can go through the names because I have them listed here. Want me to go through the names?
Yeah, let's go through the roster.
So, Batum, solid player, right, still. I think, obviously, they had Chris Dunn. We'll see what he does. They still have Harden. Derek Jones Jr. is an addition that's going to help them from the Mavs. We know that. Terrence Mann, we know he's a solid player. Jordan Miller, I think he's going to probably show a little something for them. There's a big projection for him if you go on Basketball Reference. He's going to make a big jump according to their projections. We got Kai Jones, who is back. I don't know what to expect from Kai. Remember, he was on the Hornets.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens with that. But Bones Highland might be expected more of now that they've lost, obviously, Paul George. They're going to try to look deep into that bench and see what they can grab. Norm Powell is still here. I think he's still a really good NBA player. Zubats, we know he's one of the more solid starting centers in the league. PJ Tucker, I don't know what to expect from him. But then there's Kevin Porter Jr. on this team, who's back, right? He used to play for the Rockets. He's budget James Harden. He's going to be playing behind James Harden. Maybe he adds a spark to this bench. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of names on this team like there always are with the Clippers.
Yeah, they have a lot of
They got a lot of names. And yes, they have a lot of guards.
I'm still taking the
Okay.
the under. 'Cause eventually, look, a lot
It
of these
didn't
guys are they have
Yeah.
a lot of potential. Bones Highland,
Yeah.
I like them in Denver. You're gonna have James Harden hugging the ball.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's going to be interesting. I don't know what to expect from this team. I hate predicting the Clippers every year. Like, I don't understand this team.
yeah, it's tough.
I just feel like 40's low, though. Like, damn.
How much did they win last year?
51, dude.
Yeah, but
And
they lost a lot.
And guys being in and out of lineups, too. 51 wins.
I guess people don't trust.
Under
Kawhi
means
Leonard.
this team is going to win. Like, obviously, 40 is the max, but you're probably predicting them to be a high 30s win team?
All right, so hear me out. Kawhi Leonard last year was on a contract year.
Okay, he got
Played
his pay.
70-something games. He played well when he did play.
Yeah.
He got his money. So
No
I'm
Olympics.
expecting him.
They went away from him in the Olympics, too, because they were like,
What-
you ain't ready.
What did they see?
He wasn't healthy.
It wasn't even him saying that I don't want to play. It's them saying, nah,
It's them
we
saying
good,
we're
man.
moving forward, yeah.
We good. Actually, bring back Derek White.
Okay.
That's why I'm thinking that they
Yeah.
saw something there that wasn't sitting right with me. I'm thinking that he's going to miss a lot of games this year.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
when he misses those games, it's going to be a lot of the Harden show.
Yeah.
And Harden is in Houston Harden. So I'm thinking that it's going to be right around there, 39.
Yeah.
You're right. 40 is a low
low, man.
number.
Yeah.
But man, the West is hard.
The West is hard. I hate the Clippers, okay? Specifically because they're just hard to predict for me. I'm just gonna go over to argue, just to argue with you on this one. So, I don't think it's gonna be a high over though. Like they're gonna be like probably right over that number. So, okay, we can move on. Now we can get to the Lakers. 43.5, which is, pretty low number.
I'm really curious
They didn't
on what
like
you
their
got to say.
offseason, right? Like clearly that's what it is. 47 wins last year. We thought they would win like a little bit more than that, I think. We took the over, but it wasn't by much. Random question I want to ask after the Olympics, and this is the LeBron one. Yeah. So, do you now agree that he is a top 10 player?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And it wasn't like you said he was like way out. You said like 11.
But
yeah.
It's the criteria.
11 just
I
sounds
guess.
bad.
10th
Yeah.
player like for a whole season, or 10th player for like a short period of time, or an NBA
I think
series.
top 10, man. Like
'Cause
he
it's
leads his
different.
team in a ton of
If
categories.
you tell me LeBron, here's 82 games, or Jalen Brunson, here's 82 games,
Yeah.
I think I would take Jalen Brunson. But if it's a playoff series or an Olympic setting where
Yeah.
you're like, all right, you could pace yourself. It's not, it's
But
not
then-
a lot of back-to-backs.
Yeah.
You can put out all effort on defense. Then I would take LeBron easily, because when
So then
LeBron's
he is the better
engaged,
player.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You know
He's
what I'm
just-
saying? Like-
he's also just 40,
Yeah,
Like,
because
it's-
the thing is, when you add the factor of for the season,
Yeah.
the conversation changes a little.
It does.
But I'm talking about just throw the ball in the court. Like, who,
Hey, here's a pickup game.
who are you taking?
I'm taking Braun, yeah.
So that's how I see LeBron as top 10.
Yeah.
I actually have him like 8th, really. Maybe 9th. But, okay. So, coming into the season, basically the same team. We get Christian Wood saying, I'm back, and I'm back with a vengeance. And a week later, he
Yeah.
gets hurt. Now he's not going to be back until, who knows,
Yep.
maybe January. They were 5th in assists. These are some bright spots for them. 5th in assists, second most free throws attempted. People were mad about that, thinking that they're helping the Lakers. 6th in points per game, 3rd in fast break points. Surprisingly, LeBron again still at the top in fast break points as a player. Second, I think, last year, which is incredible. A team that finished middle of the pack, offensively and defensively. And part of that is obviously Darvin Ham, which obviously they let go of him.
Yeah.
And a lot of part of that is roster construction. Now, we're going to see if it was mainly Darvin Ham, because now we have JJ Redick, who's more of an offensive-minded coach, right? Analytical guy. Yeah. He wants to get more threes up. He wants a little bit more motion. He talked about using Anthony Davis as a hub, right? Kind of how the other top teams use their centers. That's going to be interesting, because the more involved AD is, the better the ceiling of your team is.
Yeah.
I think we can agree to that. So, yeah, definitely interesting in that hire. I'm a fan of JJ Redick. I think he can help them. Putting the emphasis on AD, we know, I think that's a big positive. He wants the Lakers to take more threes. I've been on the forefront of that for a while. 28th in three-pointers attempted. And they shoot them at a high clip, right? They're 3rd in three-point percentage last year, I think, right? Or post-All-Star they were.
Okay.
And then they were 8th for the season. So, this is a team that is capable of making their threes, so they should be taking more. I don't think you can be successful as a low-attempt three-point shooting team these days, unless you're shooting it at a high clip and it kind of balances out. But they lost Taurean Prince. That's a 3-and-D guy that
was a
he
big
made him
loss.
at a high clip, 39% last year from 3. They're going to miss that.
Yeah.
Dalton Connect is someone they hope can jump in and help with the shooting, right? The rookie, but he is a rookie.
I'm
So-
not clear as to why he dropped so far in the draft, but
Me neither. It was a confusing draft for sure. Like, could not predict that draft. It was tough. Max Christie, they're talking about he's going to take a bigger role. They're going to explore him a little more. He didn't get used enough. We'll see what he's got. D'Angelo's still here. We thought he wouldn't be here. He picked up the player option. Are they going to move him? I think we both expect he's still going to be in the trade rumors. Cam Reddish picked up his option. That lets you know there's teams probably still not interested in him.
yeah.
So we'll see what that, Jared Vanderbilt, maybe he finally puts together a healthy season.
Is he back for the beginning of the season? Or?
Yeah, he's healthy now. So they will have him. Gabe Vincent, another guy that hopefully they can finally get to see with a good sample. What does LeBron have in the tank, right? We got 76 games from AD as well, which is awesome. He hasn't done that since, I noted here, 2017 with the Pelicans. So we'll see.
Now, I think some of the big questions is, can JJ Redick coach LeBron James?
I think he can. I think LeBron is mature enough to understand that there has to be a cooperation.
Because I feel like LeBron is sometimes too smart for his own good, where he knows more basketball than his head coach. This is like something obvious where, at first you hire Darvin Ham.
Yeah.
And he's excited about the hire.
Yeah.
And then the moment Darvin Ham doesn't do something LeBron expects, then, you could see LeBron already.
Yeah.
He won't berate his coach on live TV, but you can, you'll have certain body language that you can kind of,
I think JJ is someone that LeBron respects and someone that obviously we know about the pod. I think they're in line, and I think that matters. That's why I trust it. Yeah. Okay, so we lost battery, and that's going to be a problem for the rest of this pod, most likely. So I went over on the Lakers. Gus.
I'm going to go over as well. I think they're going to win about 44-45. I think LeBron and AD, they're going to, their performances from the Olympics is going to carry over.
Yeah. I think that they have what it takes to be a the middle of the pack team again. So I'm pretty comfortable with that over number. We can move on from the Lakers. Memphis Grizzlies, the team that throws a monkey wrench into this entire thing. It's almost like an expansion team just came in here, but then out of nowhere, obviously, it's a team that won 50-ish games 2 years ago. So, last season, 27-55, plagued by injuries. I don't know what to expect from this team. Like, we see the Zach Edey pick, right? He's going to be a really strong screen setter. He's going to help give separation to whoever's on ball, mainly Ja. Desmond Bane, he's a post. Obviously, he's a problem in the post. We know that. Can he sustain the long season? That's what remains to be seen. He also helps Triple J play his true position, which is the 4. So that's going to help. This fan base cannot wait to get Ja Morant back and their team back, mainly. Gigi Jackson's going to be out till January-ish. That sucks. But FedEx Forum is going to be a very hard place to win at when you're an opposing team. Again, that's going to be a very hard place to get wins. I'm going over on this team. I think that they have adrenaline, a ton of it going into this season. I think they have a lot of names on this team. Like Brandon Clark is back. I don't know what to expect from Derrick Rose at this point. He's had injuries as well, especially last season. But I'm going to go with the over just because I have no idea what this team is going to be like. And I think they're going to be good.
Yeah, I second that. I think Ja Morant is coming back for heads. Marcus Smart, he kind of missed most of the season last year. Yeah. And he's a winning player. JJJ has developed his scoring. So I think that adds another element to their offense. Yeah. And I think that they're going to have just enough to get over that 47.5 line. Yeah. Maybe 48, 49 wins. Okay. So we both agree on the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to be moving as quickly as we can because we're up against it. So Minnesota Timberwolves, 52.5. I'm going to just off the rip, just let you know what it is. I have the over on this team. This was a team that proved both of us wrong. We thought they were going to be like mid-40s winish team. We did not expect such a deep run from this team. We know the talent's here. We love Anthony Edwards. Obviously they were a series away from the finals. My main question with this team is, will they stay hungry after such a successful season? And they're very young. So, hopefully they stay hungry
because that's what it's going to take. Like, it's really hard, in my opinion, for a young team to have such a deep run, such a successful season, kind of like a middle finger to everybody type of season, and then come back and do it again. So I still take the over. I believe in what this team has. They still have their core, right? It matters. They still have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid. Anthony Edwards is 23 years old and looking like he's going to be one of the best players in the league for years to come. And yeah, I mean, Terrence Shannon Jr. is a name that I talked about during Summer League. I kind of broke him down a little bit. They got Rob Dillingham, who's going to add some excitement, maybe for the fans to be hyped for a rookie. I don't know if he's going to be that impactful to start. But so where are you at with these guys?
I'm actually going to take the under.
Okay.
And honestly, I have no real major reason why, other than the conference is just really good.
Yeah.
And wins are going to be hard to come by. They lost Kyle Anderson. I don't think he's going to be that much of an impact, but he was a good role player for them.
Yeah, he mattered.
And yeah, I think that 53 wins, it's a lot in the West.
Yeah.
It's going to be very tight, just like last year. And I think that they're going to be just a shade under at 51, 52.
I like that we disagree on this Minnesota one. I'm surprised that you took the under. I'm guessing you're just thinking along the lines of like repeating another successful season as a young team after a deep run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and again, they could prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Because they just had an exceptional season last year. Their defense was outstanding.
Yes.
We'll see how long Rudy can keep this up.
Yeah.
I know he's not the most popular player in the league, but
yeah.
He got set down at the Olympics. I'm not sure what's that about, but
right. Cool. So we can move on to the New Orleans Pelicans. 45.5 is the over under. I think it is spot on to where I believe they're going to be. I am going to actually go under on this one. I am actually pretty down on this team. They move guys that I think they're going to miss. No Valanciunas.
Yep.
I think that is a big problem for them because now we're gonna see a lot of Zion at the 5 type stuff because they have Daniel Tice as a center there.
Yeah.
We know he's an undersized center. The rebounding, I don't know what they're gonna do about that. Rim protection, I have a big question about that with this team. This is a league that's going big and they are going small. And I don't know if this team can actually pack a lot of wins doing that. And Willie Green is on the hot seat. I know that. I think the Pelicans fans know that. I think Willie Green knows that. And I have reasons for that. But if you want to get into this Pelicans real quick, over under.
Yeah, I actually got them at the over.
Okay.
But only by 1. I think that they're going to be about at 46. I think the DeJounte Murray addition is really good. They're going to be really good in the perimeter defensively.
Yeah.
But like you said, they have no size. Like, who's going to be the starting center?
Yeah.
Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, big fan of theirs. The 3-and-D that they provide.
Yeah.
And there's going to be questions about Brandon Ingram. I mean, he's been shopped all summer. And then, who knows what that does to the morale of the team.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to name players that are going to be problems for this team all year long. Jokic, Aaron Gordon in Denver. Anthony Davis and LeBron in LA. Right? These are like the size that they're going to be facing every night. Wembanyama on the Spurs. Derek Lively and Gafford with the Mavs. Obviously, the T-Wolves have size, right? Big team. Rudy Gobert is a problem against undersized teams. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. OKC added size next to Chet Holmgren. They have Hartenstein now. Zubac is no slouch for the Clippers. Sabonis is a paint problem. I know they do really well against the Kings, but, Utah, not a good team, but Lowry Markkanen, Walker Kessler, John Collins. Like, I'm not even talking about the Eastern teams they're going to see. They got Giannis they're going to be facing. They're going to see Embiid. They're going to see the Magic that are a big team. The Heat have Bam Adebayo. Like, these are teams that have size, and I question their ability to combat that, because if the offense is looking like what it did last year, which is not great, I don't know that they're going to be able to put together enough, I know what you're saying. Like, they were 6th, I think, in defense last year that they finished.
You could argue that they're better defensively in the perimeter.
Right.
You're pairing
DeJounte with
CJ and DeJounte.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't see eye to eye on that one, but obviously we're not far off. Like, I do think they're going to be close. I'm going the under because I don't like the way this team is trending. They're also a Zion injury away from this whole thing just coming out of place. So I am worried about that. And like I said, Willie Green, if they fire him mid-season, which I don't think is going to happen, I think what will probably happen is they just don't pick him up again, like, because it is his contract year, I believe. So I think they're going to move on from him. He over-strategizes defense. The team's offense really struggles as a result of that. He doesn't give enough opportunity to the young guys. From what I've watched, they were 14 and 15 in the clutch. So not a guy that's known for making good adjustments in live time. So I do question that situation with the coach. So we can move on. OKC, I think it's probably not going to be a tough one unless you're going with the hard to achieve high wins standpoint, but I'm going over for obvious reasons. I think this team got better, which is very hard to do considering how good they already were. They were like top 5 in every category. The rebounding was a problem. They addressed that because now they have a little more size with Hartenstein. I don't know if they're going to start him next to Chet. It's certainly viable. Like, it's not impossible to see that, but I think they might just stick to that formula. Maybe Caruso in for Giddey in that starting slot, and then Isaiah Hartenstein coming off the bench for Chet, right? But I'm comfortable taking the over on a team that was awesome last year.
Yeah, this one was also a tough number. I think Vegas did a really good job selecting that. I'm gonna go with the under only because now I feel like they're gonna have a target on their back. I still think they're gonna be the class of the Western Conference. They're gonna be the number 1 seed. Probably have a 1 or 2 game cushion above the 2nd seed. They definitely did get better. Alex Caruso, Hartenstein, like you mentioned. Cason Wallace and Jalen Williams are young players that are gonna just keep getting better. And obviously
Mark Daignault, great coach. Like, they just have everything.
Exactly. But the West is, West is rough, and I still think that they're gonna be number 1 seed. It's just
for sure they might be a 1 seed that doesn't have
that 50. I don't think they get to 57.
Okay,
I'm saying.
That's fair. Phoenix Suns 47.5. You were very high on this team last year, and I get it. They got to 49 surprisingly, but obviously the ceiling of this team, I think it lies on the shoulders of how healthy Bradley Beal is going to be, because not enough of a sample size with him, right? The complaint all year long was the point guard, right? Like, no point guard on this team, like no true point. I think Devin Booker did a great job with that responsibility. And I will say this, like, I was always on the end of this team needs perimeter defense more than that traditional point. So now that they have the traditional point, I would love to see the real difference with this team. I honestly, I'm going under because I think the win number, they're probably going to be right there, like a 47 win team. But, I don't know what's going to happen. KD health, Booker health, Beal health. We know the formula. If they're not going to take a lot of threes, they were 25th in three-pointers attempted last year. This is a heavy 2-point scoring team. Like, they love the mid-range. They do shoot the 3 at a high percentage, but they don't take enough of those. So I want to see the volume go up for this team's ceiling to be raised. So I don't know. I'm going to take the under. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
But only a shade. I think you mentioned they won 49 last year, so we're essentially asking, are they better than last year? I think that they're about the same.
Okay.
They did finally get that point guard.
Yeah.
They got a much better offensive coach, and I think Bud is a great regular season coach, especially that first season that he coaches.
Yeah.
He's had a great track record with Atlanta. The first year he got there,
that's right.
They won 60 games. The first year he got at Milwaukee, they won several games.
He's gonna want to up the threes, for sure.
And I think that's
gonna help.
That's by design. You got the personnel to do so.
Yeah.
Rebounding is still a concern for them.
Right.
But I don't think they're gonna be a juggernaut by any stretch. But I think they
have the potential to be one, to be a juggernaut.
If offensively, if Booker and Durant stay healthy, then yes. Beal to a certain extent, yes, but I think with Beal, it's just too many. There's only one ball problem.
Yes. There could be some redundancy with the way they all like to play. So we'll see. I'm glad that we're disagreeing on a couple of these. That's interesting. I'm not surprised because this is a crazy season. Trailblazers. We could probably zoom right through this. I believe that Chauncey Billups is on the hot seat. Whether it's his, I don't even think it's his fault, really. I also don't think he's a good coach, though. Hard to tell because the sample is so hard because he's had a really bad situation. This team has not been good. So I'm not going to put it all on him for sure. But I think that he is just like in this scenario where a front office, whether it's the coach's fault or not, they feel like it's been long enough with the same voice. Maybe they move along and they try to get someone else. I think he's in a contract year, so everything is kind of primed for something like that to happen. Maybe they make a coaching change because Billups is a very competitive guy, and I don't think he's going to be happy with just this tanking scenario every year either. So there could be a kind of rift there. Yeah. They trade for Denny. We talked about that. Technically, I don't even think they're better this year, to be honest. They did draft Donovan Clingan. They have a lot of front court depth. Like, they got Ayton, they got Clingan now. And they also have Rob Williams, who we forget about, who could also be a trade piece to continue to tank, maybe for more draft assets if someone wants him. Scoot Henderson had a good second half of the season, horrible first half, and not really a good rookie season in general.
Yeah, I think he set some records on negative net rating.
Yeah.
And now that you moved Malcolm Brogdon, you moved him away, that means you're going to be seeing more Scoot Henderson.
Right.
Which means I think the team's going to be worse.
Yeah. I think we're both taking the under on these guys, right?
Under, Joe Cronin failed Phillips.
Again. Okay, Sacramento Kings, 46.5. This is a team that I think, obviously, they took that step back offensively. That's the kind of step you're expecting from the Pacers to happen to them potentially. Really bad season from Kevin Huerter. This team took a step back, like we said, on offense. They added DeMar DeRozan, so that's going to be a nice little clutch time guy. Fox is a fourth quarter dude. They got DeMar DeRozan. I'm going to question the spacing with DeRozan and Sabonis at the same time. Like, I know Sabonis can make threes. He doesn't take many of those. DeRozan's in that kind of space where he doesn't like to take threes either. He can make them. I think this is going to also be on the shoulders of Keegan Murray's development. Like, I think his leap could really help this team's win potential. They drafted Devin Carter, but they're going to have to wait on him. Keon Ellis was someone that stood out last year. They're going to hope that he can show them something. They kept Malik Monk. He was in a lot of trade rumors. So, I don't know. Like, I think this team is motivated, and this is going to be a tough Western Conference. I think this team has that added oomph with DeMar DeRozan that I think is going to matter. That's why I'm just banking on that. I love DeRozan. I think he's tired of being on a horrible team. So I think that's going to help. I'm taking the over on the Kings.
Over?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
I don't think that the fit with DeRozan and, the rest of the team, I don't think it's a great fit. DeRozan is not exactly a defensive stopper, not a three-point shooter.
Yeah.
I feel like the two-man game between, Sabonis and Fox has become a bit predictable. And I just think that they're going to be a little bit under that 46 win mark. I think they're going to be around 44 to 46.
Okay, cool. So, man, we're disagreeing with a lot of these.
It's going to be a fun.
It's going to be a good time to keep up with that.
A lot of crap talking.
A lot of crap talking on the over-unders. San Antonio Spurs, 36.5. It would seem like impossible if this was the number last year. Chris Paul's here. Harrison Barnes is here. So they've added vets to kind of help him accelerate his Wemby's development. I like the fit in terms of, like, he needed a point guard. They went out and got one of the best point guards ever, even if he's at the other end of his career. This is going to push Sohan to also play a more comfortable role because that experiment with the point guard just horrible. We are running out of time as well, so I'm just going to take the under on the Spurs. I think they're going to be right under there because Chris Paul does elevate that, but, what can we expect from him at this point? He does have Wemby, which is an incredible talent, so I don't know. I'm going to take the under, though. I'm comfortable with that.
For me, bearing any Wemby injury, I'm going to take the over. I think they win about 40 games. I think the CP3 effect of finally giving him a real point guard. How many times did we see Wemby not get the ball?
He's going to get
wide open.
Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah, over on that.
Vassell and Keldon have a lesser role, or, they get a chance to improve.
Devin Vassell, yeah.
Harrison Barnes, great veteran.
Yeah.
And they drafted Stephon Castle from UConn.
That's right,
Stephon
Castle.
A good a point guard that can learn from Chris Paul.
Yeah.
That's why I'm taking the over.
That's a nice surprise over. That's probably your surprise over.
That's probably my hot take.
Yeah. So I like that. Because honestly, it's not a team that I think it's impossible still. Because we've seen Chris Paul elevate a young team.
Yeah, you can talk yourself into anything
this
season.
Exactly. So I like that you took the over. Last team, Utah Jazz, 29.5. Last season, 31 wins. So they're obviously assuming they're going to kind of stay in the same place. This is one of those teams that I'm fully expecting to tank for Cooper. Poop for Coop. They drafted Isaiah Collier, aggressive guard, can't really shoot yet, really good playmaker. He's confident, gets downhill, makes risky decisions. His turnovers are kind of wild, but I like him. It's gonna be a really competitive backcourt, like Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Colin Sexton. Yep. There's who is this other guard that's always here as well? Jordan Clarkson, and then Cody Williams, Jalen Williams' brother.
Oh, yeah,
interesting prospect there. They take Kyle Filipowski, which is another 7-footer with skill. Hopefully, he turns into something. I'm high on him. I'm taking the under on this team for obvious reasons. Don't think they're going to be good. I don't think that Danny Ainge wants them to be good. I think they want those high draft picks. And also Taylor Hendricks. I have a video on him. They're banking on him. They took him in the lottery a year ago and looking like a role player. Really, like he still has a lot of potential, but he plays with the mentality of I'm just going to stand in the corner, shoot threes, and try to lock up defensively. Have a long breakdown on him, so I'll just leave it in the link. And what is your take on the...
Yeah, my take doesn't differ from yours. I'm taking the under. I think that this team is not going to be very good. And if they do show signs of competitiveness, I think Danny Ainge is going to pull the plug and try to trade some pieces. That's what we're expecting, which means they're probably going to be worse and they're going to get a high pick. So that's going to do it for this one. We ran through it. We were up against it because the battery died on us mid-pod. That tells me I got to get a second battery for sure. Thank you to the camera lady in the back, aka my wife. All Things Basketball Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you for having me.